Hi, I'm Dan Can. Welcome to the Dan Can Show, where we learn to invest in ourselves, others, and real estate. Hey, are you in sales? Are you a teacher that want to look to make passive income? Are you interested in being more efficient and proficient with your time? Guess what? You are in luck because today is Dan Can's book report day. Every fourth episode, we do a book report. This book is changing my life, and I hope it changes yours. I'm not even done with the book, and I'm doing a book report on it. Stay tuned to hear about the nuggets of wisdom Mr. Chet has written down for us. Hey, welcome back. So before we jump into the book report, I told you last week that we were going to start doing Dan Can musings. And what's that? Dan Can musings are little things that I notice or happen to me throughout the week. I actually share it with friends of mine via text and also on my personal Facebook page. And if you want to look that up on Facebook, that's Dan Cantillana. You'll see my mug, my face with my beautiful family, and I do my Dan Can musings on there. So here's our Dan Can musings. I live in Spokane, Washington. I have my office on a street called Division. It's one of the busiest streets here in Spokane. I own the building that my businesses run out of, which I always think is a good idea. That's the McDonald's model. McDonald's actually owns the most real estate in the world. They surpassed the Roman Catholic Church a couple of years ago. And so if stats are still the stats, that's a lot of property. Every morning I come to work, obviously, and I'm usually the first one in the office because I'm a morning guy. And sure enough, I walk around the corner and there is a lovely lone used tire in my parking lot. Now, this is why I bring it up, because last year at about the same time, somebody gifted me with a used tire. And so my Dan Can musing was, hey, every year, the joy of business, being a business owner, every year a tire fairy comes and drops off a used tire. So now I have the pleasure of finding a way to throw away that tire. There's always the quirks when it comes with being a small business owner. My other Dan Can musings is, if you listen to the podcast, I kind of joke, I'm not really the best speller in the whole wide world. My wife, she's an amazing speller. Our youngest son, he's a fantastic speller. I am not. If that's a gene, it's lacking. However, I always find solace and peace. And this is a Dan Can paraphrase, but Winston Churchill was quoted as saying, it's a very boring man that can spell the same word just one way. And that's definitely my world. I like to creatively come up with spellings. The people around me find it funny and odd. It's charming. Hey, those are our Dan Can musings. When we come back, I'm going to share with you a fantastic book that will help you become more proficient and efficient in sales, business, and in life. Hey, welcome back. I have my spectacles on because now I'm going to read some stuff. All right, I'm a big reader. I love reading. I've quoted this many times during my podcast, and it's this: leaders read and readers lead. And that has radically changed my life. I love books. The thing I love about books is reading them and doing them. Do what it says. Oftentimes, a lot of people I've noticed will read, but they won't do any action. And gosh, man, you're missing the boat on that. You got to read, you got to lead, you got to change things. Man, the depth of wisdom that you can get from reading books is fantastic. So I was listening to a podcast, and this gentleman was on there, and he suggested this book. And the book is, I'm going to show you right here. It's called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Ooh, there we go. The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And he said, you got to get this book. And he was passionate about it. So I bought it. And man, I quickly found out it's a classic in the business world. And I was pretty disappointed in myself because I felt like I had a pretty good understanding about the different books that are classics, specifically in the business world. whoa, is this book awesome? I'm not even finished with it. I think I'm in chapter like 6 because I've reread a lot of the chapters because it's just that deep. He was a fantastic business person. I don't know anything about him personally. I don't know if I can support everything in the book because I haven't finished it. One of the things that really shocked me was that he helped manage a lot of Charlie Munger's businesses. And Charlie Munger was a partner with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and Charlie, of course, have Berkshire Hathaway, which is one of the most successful business investment companies in the known world, which is amazing. And so, man, I want to encourage you, if you are into sales, you manage a team, you're a small business owner, you want to live a life where you can increase your production so that you can bless others, this book is the route to do that. I'm only going to have enough time today to focus on kind of 3 core concepts that I picked up out of the first 3 chapters. As this podcast is about how to provide, protect, and promote, that is paramount to what we do. We want to invest in ourselves, others, in real estate. We believe that as we do that, we will have success not only in our personal life, but also in our business life. Really, I'm really thinking about changing the name of our podcast to Invest and Build with Dan Can, because I want you to invest in yourself, others, real estate, but I also want to help you build a life that you'll be proud of. And I believe that as we do that, as we're strong leaders, strong fathers, strong community members, pillars in the community, a lot of good things can happen. And so this book is really helping me kind of get that message down. And so really the first chapter and his introduction is about, hey, if you want to be successful, you got to be disciplined and prudent. And I know that our world doesn't glorify that. You're not going to hear pop songs that talk about being disciplined and prudent. You might get a country song here and there, but really Proverbs 3:3, it states in Proverbs that, hey, Proverbs is about living a disciplined and prudent life. And so I really connected with that. He uses another term that's not really my favorite, so I'm changing it a little bit. But first and foremost, if you have a journal and you're taking notes, write down this: discipline and prudent. You want to have a disciplined and prudent life. That's how you will be successful, which is wonderful. I agree with him. The beauty about Chet here is that, and I just want to read this out, he emphasizes that you don't need to do 4,000 things. You need to do 12 things. And as an investor, business owner, manager, you feel like you have 40,000 things sometimes. He, in this book, says 12 things, which then become chapters. He really talks about, hey, everybody has tactics or tasks, if you will, but what is your philosophy? And he doesn't use the word philosophy. He uses strategy. What is your strategy? What I loved about that is I gave a talk to 20 Keller Williams agents here in Spokane. And I was talking to them about when my life changed as a business owner. And I can tell you this, my life changed as a business owner when I realized that although I had the technician work that I did, okay, and I call technician work the task, that's important. But my life changed when I realized my job is to create and maintain big relationships. That's a strategy. The tactic is doing the actual technician work. The strategy is creating and maintaining big relationships. So I really enjoyed that. The second part, and I shared this last week, but the second part was time management and high productivity. He has a wide range of things to go on. I'm going to give you this task right here. I've been doing this now for 3 weeks, and I can tell you, wow, am I getting things done quicker, faster, and better than I was before. So most leaders, most professionals, you have a task list and you write those tasks down. What he said to do, and I implemented it immediately, was write down those tasks and then dictate or budget how long they're going to take you. And then you move into go mode. It's amazing. And I really love to strike off the task. But when you have 20 minutes, so for example, this podcast, I wrote podcast, 30 minutes. So when I'm done, I'm going to 30 minutes done. I'm going to go to my next task, right? Which is having a pre-day meeting with my team. And I love them. 10 minutes. I do it every day. It's fun. It's where I talk about, hey, who we are, what we do, and where we're going. Who we are, what we do, where we going. Who we are, what we do, where we going. My team knows what we're about every single day. So first and foremost, you want to have a disciplined, prudent life. You want to have tasks. Write them down. You want to have tactics and strategy. The third thing he talks about is this. Basically, you have to have daily training. You have to have weekly training, monthly training with your team. If you don't have training, your team won't know where they're going. And that's frustrating. I've been a part of teams like that. I've led teams like that. I've been a business owner like that. And I can tell you, our business changed when I really started bringing focus each and every day. And I really started bringing focus quarterly. And I would encourage you to do the same. If you are by yourself, you can train yourself. You can train yourself. Dictate on your schedule when you're going to invest in yourself. I read 20 to 30 minutes a day in my office. I read a book. I make sure my team sees me reading so they know that I'm investing in myself so I can invest in them. I would really encourage you to buy this book, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. I don't have a link. You can just look it up on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, or you could do the audiobook thing. But I would encourage you to have a journal to take notes because it is a fantastic book. As you can tell, I am hyped. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about a deal we just closed on, give you some numbers, tell you how we found it. If you're interested in investing with DanCan, I would sure love to have a conversation with you. You can go to our website, which is simple, investwithdancan.com. You're going to see a couple commercials. It's really easy to spend time with me. And I would really love to see if I could help you make money in your sleep.
One accident can change everything. Are you covered? At DanCan Insurance Agency in Spokane, we protect what matters most. Your family, your car, your peace of mind. Get a free quote in under 60 seconds. DanCan, because you can count on us. DanCan Insurance Agency specializes in auto, home, motorcycles, and life insurance. Call us today at 509-328-1422.
Hey, welcome back. Okay, so this was a house that we bought off market. If you're new to real estate, you're probably wondering what off market means. That means that it's not retail. It doesn't have a sign out front with a real estate agent on it. I got to tell you, I never knew there was an off-market world till 8 years ago, and it's alive and well. Real estate right now, it's back to normal. There's a term out there called normalization, which means that it's not hyper sales. It's not hyper focused. You got to actually work. Margins are lower. Oh my word. All of these loan officers and realtors and investors that got into the game when it was hyper sales time, wow, they're looking around going, what's this? And I would tell them, now it's a business. Now it's real. Now you have competition. Yes, your margins are going to get squeezed. I hope you have multiple streams of income. And that's what we talk about here in investing. So I bought this off market from a wholesaler. If you don't know what a wholesaler is, that is somebody who their business is to find this off market and then they sell it to investors like me. This was a fantastic property that we purchased from a wholesaler. I've worked with them many times. I think I bought 4 houses for them. I've been fostering this relationship for over 3 years. I did some sales training for their organization and I really love working with this team. They're great. Went and walked the property. Basically, a young family had inherited it. They didn't want it. They wanted the capital so that they could get a different home. So this was what I call a lipstick house, where we actually didn't have to do a whole lot to it. We just basically did flooring and paint. We did have to fix a subfloor and a bathroom, which that's not a big deal when you get in this game. We listed it above market price just to see if we could get it. And I do that often. We did not get that. So because the market's normal, it's normalization is normal. So we dropped it, I believe $15,000 off the listing price, got a really great offer. Our agent was able to find a buyer, which was wonderful. And the inspection report came back and it was pretty hefty, but because we bought and we did get a decent price, we did make some money. It was pretty quick turn. It was about 4 months from purchase to fix to sell. We average 5 to 6 months. So that's a good part. So we're going to take that money and then reinvest it in another property. I met with a potential investor yesterday, dear friend of mine. And he asked me a really great question. And he said, Dan, what's the average length that it takes you to flip one of these properties? And I would say the average length is 6 months, just soup to nuts. I don't even know what that term means, but basically from start to finish, we get to cash a check in 6 months. And that's not bad. I would like that to be 4, but liking and actually activating that is 2 separate things. I really enjoy the off-market world. We sold a house on Monday. We accepted an offer on a house that we've had on the market for a really long time on Tuesday. And it just always feels really good when we get an opportunity to do that. After this wonderful word from our sponsor, we're going to sum everything up.
Want to earn passive income without becoming a landlord? At Invest with DanCan, accredited investors tap into exclusive off-market real estate deals in America's fastest-growing regions. With expert local teams and proven systems, you get double-digit returns without the headaches of property management. Ready to build real wealth the smart way? Join us today. Provide, protect, promote.
Hi, welcome back. I love saying that, welcome back. I feel like I'm on a TV show. No, it's a podcast. I'm Dan Cantillana. This is a show where we invest in ourselves, others, and real estate. We believe that being strong leaders, that we can help others. And that's really our heart, is we want to help people with investments. We want to help people with their lives. Our wonderful DanCan musings was there was a tire fairy that stopped by my office. Second part was the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. First 3 chapters are dynamite. I'm actually, every Monday morning, I meet with my team leads, and we're actually going through this. And we're going through this book. One of the strongest things that's really been affecting me and bringing a lot of joy back into my sales career is educational selling. A huge part of the book. We didn't have time to go over that. Maybe we'll do that in the next book report. And then also just went over, this is what a deal looks like. This is what off market looks like. These are our margins. This is the money we made. We did all right on this one. Cash on cash returns, pretty good. We also made a profit. That's key. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett said the first thing about investment is don't lose money. We didn't lose money. We get to keep going. One of the things that I didn't mention in the last segment is the potential investor I met with. He asked me, hey, Dan, how many properties are you looking at before you buy one? And I thought, man, what an inquisitive question. Basically, we look at about 6 to 10 properties before we purchase one, because most properties that we look at, they're like retail deals, semi-retail deals. We need off-market deals, which means we're buying at 30 to 50% of value. That's really our business model, is 30% to value. And they're out there. I know it sounds amazing, but it's true. They're out there. And that margin of safety that's for our investors. So if a house is worth 100,000, we buy it for 50. Investors know that they're 50,000, they're 60,000. If we buy it for that 40,000 margin, that's their safety. So Proverbs 3:3, live a disciplined and prudent life. If I could tell you one thing to be successful, that's it. Who loves self-control? Not a lot of people, but man, it's a fruit of the spirit. We want to do it. The most successful people I know definitely have that character trait, which is great. A spirit of self-control. It helps in so many different things. I'm so thankful you're listening to the podcast. If you want to connect with me, just go to investwithdancan.com. And remember, DanCan listeners, love well and do good. Talk to you soon.